All right, here we go again. Another episode of Freedom from Alcohol. My name is Chris. Got Lauren and Matt here with me. What's up, guys?
Hello, hello.
Hey.
We are going to talk about mindset today, which I think is so important, and I want to get into that obviously in a second here. But one of the things I want to talk about real quick, that I think this is such a hack. Have you guys done NSDR, the non-sleep deep rest? Have you ever done that?
Yeah, I didn't refer to it as such, but yeah, I've definitely done it before.
Oh,
Maybe explain it to me just to make sure that I know we're on the same page
well,
here.
it's a game changer, right? And it's basically like yoga nidra, but it's if you want to
Okay.
do it during the day, they call it non-sleep deep rest, or if you search NSDR,
Okay.
man, it is such a like if you're feeling tired, if you run down, if you need like a little break in the middle of the day, but you can't take a nap,
hmm
listen to an NSDR. That will get you into a wonderful, wonderful spot. I just did that a little while ago because I was just tired and like, oh man, I got to do something. And every time I do it, I'm like, this is amazing. So what I use is the app, the Insight Timer app, and you just search NSDR, and there's a ton of them to choose from. It's amazing because you kind of just call attention to different parts of your body, right? So your thumb, your
Mm.
right finger, and it's not like you're sleeping, but your body and your brain get a chance to relax. So, um, ever since I started doing that, I've noticed a huge difference in mindset overall. But so I just wanted to give that tip because I love doing that, and just try it because you'll notice a difference immediately. So going with that vein, mindset is what we want to talk about today. So last week we talked about clarity and the importance of being really clear on why you are drinking, why you want to stop drinking, what you want your life to look like. That is the first pillar that we help our clients with that work with us in our Freedom from Alcohol coaching program. The second pillar we're talking about today is mindset. And this is super, super crucial because I think a lot of people miss this one when we decide to quit drinking. We just think, okay, I just got to stop putting alcohol in my mouth, and that's all I need to do. I don't have to change anything else, including my mindset. And that's just not a good recipe because if you're not working on your mindset, man, you will get dragged back in to the old mindset because again, our brains crave this familiarity and it's going to want to go back to that mindset that you were stuck in. So I don't know about you guys, but maybe you can share your experiences between where your mindset was to where it is now. So for me, when I was a drinker, I think about like it was a very pessimistic place to be. It was always my life is not great. I wish it was better. Why is this happening to me? A lot of victim mentality, a lot of doom and gloom sort of outlook on everything. The lens that I was
Mhm.
looking through was rarely positive. And it was kind of this mindset of like, well, everything sucks. I might as well drink because at least then it makes me not have to think about how shitty everything is for a while. And that's where the mindset was for me when I was a drinker. And now the difference is I still have, of course, bad things, but I don't attach to them. I
Mm.
focus on what I'm grateful for, the good things in my life. I look at how can I improve? How can I grow? How can I stretch myself and evolve as opposed to, well, I'm going to die soon anyway. Everything sucks. I might as well just keep going down this destructive habit. Now it's like, no, there's a lot to live for, and I look forward to every day. And it's just when you can get your mindset to a place where you're trusting yourself, your self-worth is up there, you're confident in your own skin. Like this is the mindset that we really like helping people get into because when you're in that mindset, you don't want to drink, you don't want to drown out, you don't want to numb or escape, right? Because there's not as many reasons to. So mindset is super crucial. And let me just go to you, Matt. I mean, what are your takeaways here for as far as mindset goes and where you were at and where you're at now?
Yeah, for me, my mindset before it was like two prongs, right? So there was the effort to or like the when am I going to drink? How can I drink? When is my next drink coming? How can I talk to this person with like two, like the mental gymnastics that we talk about. So it's that, or it is the flip side of that where I was like, oh man, how can I get out of this? How can I stop? Is this repetition? And that was my mindset. I was stuck in fluctuating between the two sides of that, right? Until I was able to break free of that. So, when we were talking about clarity last week, for me, that's like step one is like okay, it's like identifying something about yourself and going, ah, okay, like the whys, right? We talk about the whys, like why am I drinking in the first place? So important to identify. A lot of people will stop their self-development at that stage, be like, oh, okay, now I know why I do that.
Yeah.
And it's like realistically, the mindset is like the integration of, okay, so now that I have this information, what am I going to do with it? So to me, mindset is also like the action, or like the integration of changing your lifestyle and all that. So in which you touched on there, it's like, okay, if all you do is remove alcohol and you don't change anything else, man, you're gonna pretty much end up in the same spot. It's inevitable at some point, right? This is where you have the slip ups and such. So mindset is very much climbing out of this, for me, was climbing out of this hole, this like stuck point that I was at. And kind of like the gopher, the groundhog coming up at Groundhog Day and like looking around, okay, there is more going on over here. And initially
Yeah.
it's scary. And that's why there's people like us around, because it's like, it's overwhelming at first. Like, where do I go from here? I have this knowledge. I can't really go back now, because like, I can't unlearn what I've learned about myself. I've crossed this threshold. Where do I go with this? And a lot of people, it's frightening. And it was a little bit frightening for myself. So that's why there is like coaches like us to help guide you through that, right? And it really is, it's just like the cliches for a reason, right? One step at a time, one habit at a time, one change at a time, right? And you really have to walk yourself out of these old habits into new habits, versus like, you know what I mean, the pendulum swing that, the mistake that we're recording this in January, that people have with the New Year's resolutions. It's this violent pendulum swing to the extreme of the other side, that's usually based on like, like shit talking yourself, right? Like, I'm going to go to the gym because I'm fat, right? And
Yep.
then of course it's going to, recalibrate. It's going to swing back to the other side violently as well. So with us, and what we do with the mindset is like walk you out of that, so you don't have this swing, this pendulum swing, and you're going to find that calibration point somewhere between the two extremes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I just wrote down like, to me, I had to believe in myself. I had to want better for myself. I had to want a life that I felt like I deserved. And while I was a drinker, I didn't feel like I deserved any of that. It was like, nah, I'm not that person who deserves to be successful or to have all these things that I want. I had gotten into the mindset of this is all I deserve, and yeah, your world does. It just gets smaller and smaller the more you drink, and darker and darker. And you know, it's really up to us, right? Nobody's going to come along and change our mindset for us. We have to do that. And it takes work. It takes continuous work, right? Consistency in like working on our mindset. It's not a quick fix. It's a everyday sort of thing. How about for you, Lauren? What would you say to this?
Well, so mindset for me brings up a couple of different things. So for one, Matt, like with you can't unsee what you've seen. I always think of that as like when you are so in awe of that magician who saws that lady in half. And then once you get a peek behind the curtain and you realize that she's
Mm,
really just climbed her whole body into the top box, and the bottom box is just those feet that are automatic and they're not real, you can never watch that magic trick from the customer side again, from the
mm,
spectator side, and feel that sense of awe. I feel like with what we work with our clients a lot is helping them see that it was just a trick that alcohol was playing on them, that no lady was really getting sawed in half. She was just hanging out in the top. And so with alcohol, what are those lies that it's told us? And once we see them, we can't unsee them. And even if you do go back and have like a drink or something, you can't unsee, you know, the fact that it wasn't what you thought it was, because now you've learned differently. So I see mindset that way. And then the other mindset that I had as a drinker was, well, I suck, because alcohol keeps you in this loop of self hate, shame, guilt, doubt. And because I'm a sucky person and I'm a bad person because I keep doing these things to myself, why not keep doing them? Because there's
yeah.
nothing anyway, right? So those
Mhm.
are kind of like the two places that mindset takes me. But what helped me become a non drinker was definitely just learning all of the lies that alcohol does tell us. And then once I've seen that, I can't unsee it. I can't be in awe of that magic trick anymore.
Mm,
Yeah. 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 And it's so true. Yeah, because my head was buried in the sand as a drinker. It was like, oh,
yeah.
okay, I know that it's not good for me. I know it's affecting me, but I didn't want to admit that, because I knew once I admitted it and I got real honest and saw behind the curtain of the magic trick like you're talking about, it I can't then go back and continue passing out on my couch drinking every night.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
I wouldn't be able to do that. And I think a lot of people know that somewhere within them, like if they really went on this process and figured all this stuff out, that would be the turning point for them. And so I think, like in my case, I didn't want to do that, because then it was like, okay, this means we're really done. This means I'm not going to go back. And am I okay with that? Am I ready for that? It's really amazing how fear of losing alcohol keeps so many people in the cycle, right? It's this drink that's poisonous, that costs a lot of money, and there are zero benefits to it. But yet we believe, we're in the mindset of, if I don't have that, my life will be less than. It won't be as much fun. I
Yeah.
won't, I will be dull. I will be bored. I won't have the same friends. We get all this fear, and then we stay trapped in that mindset of, I can't get rid of this. Everything's going to change too much. But once you actually do, and you start working on your mindset, you get rid of alcohol, you get the clarity, and then you work on your mindset. You stop shit talking yourself, right? You learn to recognize your patterns and the way that you are thinking about yourself, the way that you're speaking to yourself, and then you immediately change all of that, right? To like, okay, how can I change the story to a positive one? Instead of shit talking myself, it's like, no, I'm growing, I'm getting better every day. All of these little things start to add up, and then your mindset starts to shift as long as you continue working on it. And then eventually you look back and you go, man, the mindset that I had while I was a drinker, like that's not who I really am. I had just gotten to this place where I believed that that's who I was, and we had convinced ourselves that. But it's so refreshing. Wouldn't you guys agree? Like, to not be in that place anymore, not have the mindset of less than, dark, depressing, doom and gloom, hopelessness. I mean, that sucked.
Yeah, yeah, it sure did. And we talk a lot about these, the power of words, right? And it really is. It's like, for me, it was like this unthawing process or I guess thawing, not unthawing, thawing process of, of getting out of this like this cycle of shit talking myself. And eventually, it's sort of gradually over time, my words started, the way I was talking to myself started changing, and based a lot on the content that I was absorbing. I started getting into, Wayne Dyer and these different things, instead of, watching another Nirvana video. And, I love Nirvana and all that, but like, I was again, just sort of like inching my way out of this previous mindset where I was really identified as this, like, it was cool to be like a troubled artist, you know what I mean?
Right.
And like, and then just realizing that's not, I think this was, the older I got, and then just realizing it, like, like the party's over at a certain point, right? And people around me are no longer, doing it as much. People are having families, you know what I mean? It's like, and I'm this guy that's still like drinking from morning to night and all this sort of thing. But yeah, to get just back to the words, that was the huge thing for me, like journaling and what I was putting into my head as far as audiobooks versus, darker stuff. Just that's what really started like putting some light, like casting some light on the darkness that was my mindset at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had to cut out all, like, I had to look at what was I putting into my body, as far as my brain and all this kind of stuff. And I had to cut out all news. I had gotten wrapped into reading news every day, and it's negative, and I didn't realize how much it was affecting me. And so one of the things that has helped me change my mindset is being very careful about what I am inputting into my brain. So some people will sit and watch Dateline constantly. They will listen to murder podcasts and don't realize what kind of role that's playing on your mindset, right? You
Yeah.
start to then feel like, I can't trust anybody. Everybody's going to murder me. And whether you realize it or not, you're having these thoughts. And if you're watching the news, they know that your brain is attracted to negativity, so they prey on that. And
Hmm.
again, you may not even realize, but you get caught up in this, even doom scrolling, right? The people that you hang around with, if they're all negative, if they're always complaining, like, you are going to be in that mindset if you're always around them, your
Hmm.
environment, right? So
Yeah.
if you used to just go home and sit on the couch and watch TV and drink like I did when I was a drinker, it's important when you stop drinking to not do that, right? Don't just go home, sit on the couch and watch TV, because that is going to put you back into that mindset of, oh, got to have a drink in my hand and get drunk. Do something different. It's just interesting to be very mindful of what you're putting into your mind. And when you start paying attention to those things, it can make a huge difference. Even taking a break from news for 7 days, or Datelines, murder podcasts, all that stuff. Just take a break from it and see how different you start to feel. And then if you like that, keep going with it. We've had many clients that have transformed their mindset just on pulling back on some of those things alone. So it really is important, guys, to be mindful of your mindset and where it's at. So, Lauren, anything else you want to add here?
I don't think so, man. I think it's wrapped up beautifully already. Where can you find us, Matt?
Yeah, find us Freedom from Alcohol podcast. That's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts are the two heavy hitters, but they're on, I think, 14 different streaming sites at this point. So pretty much anywhere you digest your podcast, you can find us. So if we definitely appreciate the 5-star review, complete with text if you're called to do so on Apple Podcasts. Really helps us get the word out. Share it with anybody that you figure will get some value out of this podcast. We really enjoy doing it, and it's getting some legs to it. It's awesome hearing a lot of great comments. So Spotify, just a good follow. I think it's just get the old check mark going on for us. We definitely appreciate it.
Hell yeah. We appreciate you listening, the support, all that good stuff. Thank you guys very much for that. We also want to encourage you to join us in our Facebook group, same name as the podcast, Freedom from Alcohol. And it's a wonderful community in there, including during January. We do every Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're hosting an event for people that are doing dry January. And even if you're not doing dry January, you can come and join. And it's just a great discussion. So that'll be tonight. Depending on when you listen to this podcast, it might have already happened. But Thursdays in January, we're doing that. And so the community in there, the Facebook group, always great to be. And if you are interested in working with us, because I would say, honestly, 80% of what we do in our coaching program is mindset. It's just so crucial. So if you're listening to this podcast and know that your mindset could use some help, and you are interested in working with us, you can go to coachbychris.com and book a call there, get that on the calendar, and we'll see if we're a good fit working together. But yeah, it's a really good discussion. Next time, we're going to talk about our third pillar, which is reframe. And that's where we help you change the way that you view alcohol, lose the desire for it, lose the appeal for it, so that it's not that you're forcing yourself not to have it, but you genuinely don't want to have it. And that, I think, is what sets us apart from a lot of other things out there. Because if you can do that, it makes a world of difference, right? You're not fighting yourself not to drink. So, all right, we'll wrap it up there. We will see you guys next time on Freedom from Alcohol. See ya.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all.